Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of August. I hope you're well. Happy birthday, Leo. We're using the pagan otherworlds for you today. If the reading resonates with you, there will be an extended that you can go and watch at the end. That will be the first link in the description, and I have also completed the 6-month overview for each of the signs. That will be the second link in the description box. If you fancy checking those out, like I said, the 6-month overview runs from July to December. And the whole series is running to over 30 hours of content across the 12 signs, so there's a considerable amount of work gone into those. If you feel like checking them out, that would be cool. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Leo. 3 cards for Leo, please. Thank you. We have the Page of Pentacles in your recent past. Current energy for Leo, please. Three of Swords in reverse. And what's coming towards Leo in August, please? Oh, that one dropped out. I've got the 2 of Cups. Intriguing. We've got the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck, and I like this, Leo, particularly given that the 4 of Wands is underneath it, because the Queen of Cups is receptive energy, right? It's water of water, and so it's about the most receptive card in the tarot. To be honest, it's about allowing things to come to you, and what is coming to you is the 4 of Wands. It's joy, it's happiness, it's cause for celebration. But it suggests that you are now in a place to be able to receive it in its proper fashion, in a way that you might not have been a few months ago, and for whatever reason that is, I don't know, but I know that Leos have been balls deep in their own personal work for months now, and so it definitely relates to that. I mean, we can see the 4 of Wands as the creation of a new foundation, and so the work that you have been doing has been critically important for the next stage, for what comes next. But for me, the 4 of Wands is a card of home. You know, it's sitting here almost like a portal, a gateway to the castle beyond. And castles in buildings, certainly that kind of strength and magnitude like that, are our own personal fortresses. You know, I mean, I'm thinking of their house as a symbol of self by Carl Jung, you know, an external manifestation perhaps, or an internal manifestation, you know, like really shoring up your foundations is what you've been doing over the last few months. And now we're kind of at a point where you can, you know, put up the garlands and the entryway to this. It's like, yeah, no, I've been working on this really, really hard, and now I'm ready for visitors, you know. Let's pull some clarifiers and see what else is going on here. Yeah, Tarot of the Abyss to clarify. So I'll just give this a quick shuffle. Tell me about the Page of Pentacles. Ooh, tell me about the Page of Pentacles, please. Thank you. There's 1 and 2. We have the 10 of Cups and we have the 7 of Pentacles. Tell me about the 3 of Swords in reverse. We have the King of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. Tell me about the 2 of Cups, please. We have the Page of Pentacles again. The 2 of Cups. And the Chariot. At the bottom of the deck, Leo, we have Awakening. Now that is this deck's version of the Judgment card, but it's followed by the 8 of Cups and the Sun, and I don't think that there's any coincidence in that at all. The last few months have been filled, not the last few months, the last 6 months, really since the turn of the year, have been filled with disappointment, frustration, at points, well, for most of the year, in fact, a singular lack of, dare I say, motivation No, the motivation is there, but it's like every time you tried to do something, Leo, it was like the walls came up and you were constantly bouncing your beautiful head off these, you know, really, really hard surfaces. And it was kind of like, what is it? And I said it's been frustrating in the extreme. But I think perhaps the point of it is starting very slowly to dawn on you. Maybe you got a bit of a headache from that. But it's interesting. The Lionsgate portal is open currently. It opened on the 28th of July and it reaches its peak on the 8th of August, which is Sunday. It's the day before my birthday. It's also, interestingly, the birthday of my late husband. And so I feel in a very subtle way, all of a sudden you've just got a little bit more, it's not even energy, but it's just you're just a little bit more able to do more things in a day, right? I imagine if we sat down and had a conversation, what you would say to me, Leo, is he's still really tired. Really, really tired. But gone from kind of being lost in an internal chaos, right? One that's absolutely subsumed us, to suddenly practical things just kind of happening a little bit easier than they were, say, even 2 weeks ago. And it feels to me like a consolidation. You know, that chaos, that pure energy that Leo has been swirling around in, there's some sort of subtle order that is now taking place. And we like that because we are a masculine sign. There's here an awakening, for sure, that is coming, but I feel like you feel that it's coming anyway. But then we've got this Eight of Cups. There's an understanding that there are some things that are to be left behind. Now, I think it's interesting that we've got somebody walking away from a fairly ramshackle looking house there as a symbol of the self, and toward something much more beautiful, much more in alignment with where you should be than what this is. I mean, this place looks like it's falling down. It's not fit for purpose, Leo, and you're leaving it behind. Now, because it's the Eight of Cups, rather than a physical transition, this is an emotional transition. This is a spiritual transition away from an old mold that you know, have felt like you were created in, right? There are certain things about my personality that are so fixed that I cannot change them, right? I actually don't understand how to experience reality without this construct around me. And the frustration and the headbutting of the walls and the being forced to submit to the chaos, which has been your energetic field for this amount of time, is kind of leading you slowly and delicately to this point here, where you're just like, no. Now, the interesting thing about this card that I've just noticed is that she has one cup in her hand and she's literally pouring out the contents of it onto the ground as she is walking away. And we see the Seven Cups all neatly lined up in front of the house. Take a look at that. They're just there, right? And the Seven of Cups is confusion. It's illusion. It might be, you might say, emotional chaos. They're all neatly stacked up just there, and she's got the last one and she's just pouring it out. It feels suitably leonine in its kind of drama, right? Like, even us introvert Leos have a sense of theatrics, right? It feels like the last step away from a way that you have tried to keep yourself contained for a long time, right? She's pouring it out and she's walking away and she's not looking back. And sitting behind it is the sun. There's a return to something energetically substantial here for you, Leo, in the month of August, and so it should be. I mean, it's your solar return. It should be a point where you are feeling invigorated and empowered. And whilst those may not be two words that you are particularly expressing to yourself, I am feeling invigorated, I am feeling empowered, there is a subtle change that's occurred since July and June, and, you know, May and April and March. And it feels really, really powerful. There's so much that's been left behind in the chaos, Leo. I don't think that you quite understand the extent of it, because it is chaotic in nature, right? So when everything's ordered and you've got everything in very neat little boxes and they're all, you know, there in front of you, and you kind of riffle through the box and I know that shit, we'll just get rid of that because that's no use, that's fine, you know. It's a very conscious and very ordered way of going about things. Imagine, if you will, instead, that all of the boxes just tipped upside down and everything is strewn as far as the eye can see. Right? Maybe you're actually having to wade through it and you have to push your feet down to kind of find something stable to stand on while you're trying to... armfuls of shit that's just there, you know, and it's old stuff. It's old historical stuff that you own, energetically, emotionally, in your wherever it's sitting, whether it's in your head or in your heart. And I think it's heart and soul based, you know. And you kind of like keep picking up the odd thing, and you're like, oh shit, like this. I remember this from when I was a kid. And the reason that you held on to it because it was because it was a fundamental part of you and your history, Leo. So maybe, you know, it was an old doll or something like that, you know, a doll's house, maybe a little car, you know, and you hold on to it because it reminds you of your past. Yeah, it's almost a fundamental part of you. But when things are chaotic, you could get rid of half of the contents of that room and never know it, right? So you could levitate the top level of all of it up. And then you had someone, say a Virgo, for example, right? He comes in and goes, right, I'm going to clean this place up. And they sweep out everything that is underneath, right? And then they put the top layer of stuff down. And you come in and you know that something's changed, you know that something shifted, but you can't pinpoint the things that have been removed because you couldn't really see them that well. This is the energy that it seems to me that you have been in, we have been in, for the last 7 months. The difference is, in this time, after, say, the Virgo has come and swept it all out, that top layer of stuff that's been left is easier for you to sort through. And so you pick up this doll and, like, do you have an emotional connection to it anymore? Yeah, I like it. I have a money box that I've had since I was, I think, 3, and it's made of pottery, and it's just a little girl in a blue dress with a big hat, and she's got wool for hair. Now, I can't bring myself to throw that out because it's such a fundamental part of my history. Like, as early as I can remember, I might have even been 2 or 1 when I got this thing, like, but it sits there on my dressing table. It's where it lives. It doesn't go anywhere else. I will never throw that out. Like, one of my children will inherit that because it's symbolic to me of something. But there are lots and lots of things for which I have now no emotional connection. You know, things that were really, really important in the past. I look at it and I'm kind of like, it doesn't feel like me anymore. Right? That bond, that connection, whatever I imputed into it, at some point along the way, it's become severed. And now it's easier to just stick that thing in the bin, or, you know, put it in the recycling, or even pass it on to someone else. You know, here's the thing, you might like this thing. Now, obviously, I'm talking in relatively abstract terms here, but this feels big for you, Leo, because much clearing has been done. Although you can't pinpoint exactly what has gone, you know that something has changed, something has shifted. And that's what this is saying here to me. these 3 cards. Now, when we, let's put those over there. When we come to the cards that are actually on the table, we kind of see this repeated again. It's interesting because most of the cards that are on the table, bar one, actually here that I've pulled, are minor arcana. They're about the things that you are doing, Leo, day to day. This is not huge universal energies coming in and kicking the shit out of you, although it might have felt like it over the past few months. For others of you, it would feel different. For others of you, it feels like actually a level of abandonment has occurred by these big universal forces. Like, where is the change? Where is the shift? I was so fucking ready for this, and instead I have been in a holding pattern for months, waiting for permission to land. You know, I've been doggy paddling, waiting for a boat to go past, something to go past, even a fucking wave to happen or something, and there's nothing, and I'm just here, just doing this. Oh, what the fuck is this? My life now? I'm stuck in this weird limbo where nothing happens. But in the best tradition of this work, Leo, it's in the subtleties, it's in the grey places, it's in the very discrete subconscious shifts that the most profound changes occur. Now, I've said for probably the best part of a year now that there was something really, really important coming for Leo. I've been able to feel it for a year. Actually, probably more than a year, because it was about, well, 1st of January 2020. You know, I wake up and I do an energetic sit rep on the 1st of January, and I was like, something big is coming. And there was something big altogether, and I didn't know it was going to be, you know, what it is. But there was something else, and there was something that was very specific for Leo that was coming, and it's been taking its time, which is frustrating as fuck, right? We're quite impatient for these kind of things, but we've been given that space to do the work that we need to do in order to receive properly what is coming, and it does feel like it's closer than ever now, Leo. And there have been points where it's felt like it's right at the end of your fucking nose, and then it just evaporated. And you're like, you were there, I felt you there, where did you go? And it's kind of drifted off to the side. Well, it feels like it's coming back, and it feels like it's right here again, Leo. But this time, it feels like it might stick. Babbling on for 18 minutes, I haven't even touched these cards yet. In your recent past, the Page of Pentacles. Interesting that this should show up twice. Now, the Page of Pentacles is actually kind of like almost a beginner energy in some ways, right? Because it's the lowest rung of the court hierarchy for the Pentacles, right? But what we see is this page with the pentacle held aloft. And I was looking up at it, and it's like, this is fucking awesome. Look at this, look what I found. And if we could stretch my analogy of the messy room, like in the sorting, in the clearing that you have now been able to do, you've picked up something, and it's really, really important. You know that it's important. You might not yet be able to tell us what it is, because this page doesn't have the wisdom or the experience or the exposure to this thing to be able to say with certainty, this is a pentacle and it's really awesome, and know that everybody else will share your excitement about the fact that it is really, really awesome. At the moment, it's just a point of curiosity that, like, this looks like it might be an awesome thing. I don't really know what it's for, but it's here nonetheless. And it speaks for me about a newly discovered sense of the value of something. Now, unlike a lot of other readers, I feel like this kind of comes back to the self really strongly. I mean, that's what I'm always about, is coming back to the self. And so there is something about you that is newly emerging, Leo, that feels like it might be important. And this could just be a perspective. It could be the way that you've allowed things to release. It could be about the way that you are maintaining your ability to be on a level, even though sometimes you just want to flip tables and scream fuck at the fucking sky and say, when is it going to change? Could be that. But it feels like it's a subtle redirection in the energy that you were in before. Because there is an enormous spiritual awakening going on right now. And you may be right here on this path, or you may already be like years down this path. And I think, given the way that everything's gone since 2017, I think that you're a good way along this path now. Yeah. But it's really been about taking your eye away from this. Losing an attachment to the things that move at a dense vibration because of the knowledge that they are not important, right? And we see this here in this 10 of Cups. What is important is emotional well-being. Not just yours, but of those people around you. Those people that you care about, who form, you know, a regular and consistent part of your day-to-day real existence. But also something bigger than that. A collective that is bigger than that. And that might even be as broad as humanity as a whole. Understanding that you are a soul living a human experience, not a human trying to have a spiritual existence. And those two things are very, very different indeed. Although close enough that one could fall into the latter and believe that it was the right way round. I've spoken at length recently about how, to the other signs particularly, how there have been a few signs who just do not feel like they have been here for months now. There's been a definite sense of occupying another space. Now, whether that is a different realm, a different dimension, whether that is you know, kind of letting the soul have more of a say over what's going on than the body and the mind. I'm not sure. But it's been very present with Leo. I'm also seeing it with Scorpio. To a degree, I'm seeing it with Aquarius, but then one might question how much Aquarius is really rooted in the 3D anyway. And now I feel we're seeing it with Gemini too. But I think between Leo and Scorpio, these two signs have been the ones who have been very much detaching from the 3D. You might have actually found it really, really hard to do 3D things. You know, the stuff that would normally come naturally, the stuff that happens on autopilot, where you get up and you do a certain, you know, you have a certain schedule that you just follow before you've even, you know, woken up properly because you haven't had your second cup of coffee or whatever, you know. Suddenly they take much more time. You may find that your memory has absolutely fallen off a cliff, like your short-term memory is absolutely shite. It's another indication that you are sitting, maybe sitting directly in your subconscious at this point, because it's all been about signs and symbols and imagery and feelings rather than schedules and deadlines and tasks that must be done. And it's interesting because the subconscious is not mathematically literate, not at all, and it has no concept of the passing of time as a result of that. And so if, like me, you're sitting here and you're actually still baffled that it's August, you just don't understand how it could be August now, it's probably a good indication that your subconscious has been taking up much more space than it usually does. And we come to the Seven of Pentacles here. Now, the Seven of Pentacles for me is usually about that point of looking at your life and realizing that you are dissatisfied with bits of it. And to be honest, I feel like that was at the start of 2021. That was just an obvious thing, right? There are things I want to change. There are things that I kind of don't want to do anymore. There are things that I want to be able to do more. You know, I want to be able to improve these things. I want to have more energy to do X, Y, and Z, right? There was a very definite sense of a standard Seven of Pentacles about our energy. But here in the Tower of the Abyss, it's depicted differently. We have a woman here who is baking pentacles, and as if they were loaves of bread. I'll show it to you. Yeah. Now clearly she's not going to eat all of that bread herself. She's not cooking all of that bread for her. She's doing it for other people. And I don't think it's too much of a leap to see what you have been fixing in yourself as something that you are now fixing in the collective too. There seems to have been a shift away from that Seven of Pentacles. I must improve my 3D position as it is here, only to find it thrown into absolute stasis. Nothing moving, nothing changing, nothing happening. Do you know what? I just want to be happy. I just want the people around me to be happy. I don't really give too much of a shit about anything else, you know? Maybe I want my energy to improve so that I can really be there for the people that I care about. But I feel like your attention has shifted, and it's been slight every time. It's been by fractions of a degree that you are slowly turning away from the things that were occupying your mind at the beginning of the year. And you're kind of looking to this now. And like I said, a lot of this has been an unconscious processing. Like, I don't think that you're aware of the degree to which you have let things go, that you have allowed that lower level of stuff 3 feet deep to be swept away. But then we come to your current energy and we have the Three of Swords in reverse. Now this way around, it talks about the pain. You know, Leo rules the heart, and there the heart has metal in it. It has foreign objects that were never supposed to be there. This does not help with the beating of a heart. Oh, Leo, when I was doing your meditation before I started the reading, I had the coin in my hand. I was doing the meditation thing, and it was a really slow heartbeat. That was it. That was all that was coming through, and I was like, that's really calm. That's really solid. Just like that. Obviously I wasn't doing that with my hands, but that was the feeling that was coming from the coin. It's in the reverse here. Now, when a card shows up in the reverse, there's often, not always, but often an indication that we are moving away from what that card means in the upright, right? Because if it wasn't relevant at all, if it wasn't present energetically at all, you couldn't move away from it, right? But it's here. It's right there. I have to have said, when it's upside down like that, gravity can do the work. You don't have to physically haul those swords out. Like, gravity will do it for you. And it's not, that feels very close to what the analogy of the clearing of the room, without really knowing what's been clearing, is about here. It's about gravity doing its work. Obviously you'd have to tip the room on its side for gravity to do its work, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. There has been profound healing that has been going on while you have been stuck here. And that was the point of it. That was always the point of it. And whether or not, and I feel for the most part not, you understand what has left your psyche, what has left your consciousness in this time. The fact is, the healing has happened regardless. And we come to the King of Swords, and we come also to this Ace of Pentacles. What the fuck? The King of Swords is Aquarius energy, and we can't ignore that axis between Leo and Aquarius, right? They're opposite signs on the zodiac, and energetically speaking, when one is experiencing something, there will be shades, there will be echoes, there may even be full-on fucking tsunami waves hitting the other sign too, you know? And so, you know, this is a thing, it's there. But the King of Swords is almost kind of like the pinnacle of active mental energy, right? And there's a maze behind this King of Swords, and the maze is where you've been, Leo. You're kind of bouncing around in the dark and you know, taking a few wrong directions every now and then, you know, but somehow through everything you've managed to navigate this maze. And I feel maybe at the center of this maze there was a light. There is information. I don't think that you understand what you've learned yet, though. Right? He's got a piece of paper in his hand. He's got a script in his hand. But I don't feel like he's ready yet. But he also has a light on top of his head. And he has this ace, which is understanding. It is comprehension. Right? It is insight, too. And I think for you, currently, at the moment, you are starting to get those little flashes of something. Like your subconscious has been doing lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of work. And like I said, it's almost like your conscious mind has had to kind of just sit the fuck down for a little while. Because there's just not enough, you know, calories in your body to run the two of these things together. And so consciousness has been sat down, but it feels like it's being summoned back up now. And what is being presented to your consciousness, there you go, by dint of you navigating the maze, by feeling, by intuition, by submitting to the chaos, are the answers, the insight, and the information. And now it's for your conscious mind to read that, absorb that, and make a decision about it, about how it is that you want to move forwards. Because I think there were new things that were wanted by all Leos at the beginning of the year. There were new things that they were working towards. And those things, like I said, they were there and then gone. So elusive. They may still remain, but I feel like they are contextually different now. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Because you're seeing things slightly differently to the way that you did at the beginning of the year. And at this point, the grounding and rooting of yourself in the knowledge that all of those apples are what are going to grow and ripen atop your shoulders. It feels like you are more rooted now, you're more grounded, you are more tapped into an energy that was always for you, but for some reason was only able to come through in a slightly fractured way. The work is not done. It isn't done yet, because you've got to get to this point where you can take this information that you have learned and kind of, you know, with your eyes swimming, just kind of try and focus on what's going on here. So like I said, it's kind of still elusive, but it's right here in your hand, Leo. Now, when we move on to August, and specifically what is coming towards you, we have the Two of Cups. Now, I don't leap to that being a new relationship although it absolutely could be. It's a card that speaks to me about intimacy. And I feel for a lot of Leos that some of the work that has been done over the course of the last, particularly over the course of the last 7 months or so, have been on those trust issues that we have had that have sat very, very low, kind of flying under the radar. For some of you, like me, it might be your psychopathic independence, as an ex once put it to me, like the reasons why we don't allow other people to help us, why we don't go looking for assistance at the point where actually it would be a very, very good thing. And the knock-on effect that that has to our experience of intimacy. Because Leos love with the fire of 1,000 suns, right? But there are obstacles there. There are things that cast shadows along the way. And these last few months feel like there have been a succession of events where this idea has been coming up, it's been coming to the fore. And for a lot of you, I feel like you've naturally then sort of ended up exploring what it is to trust, what it is to allow yourself the vulnerability of allowing someone else to offer help, because I still don't think any of you are kind of at the point where you are asking for help. I feel like you're allowing it to come in naturally, right? Allowing people to help you in the way that you always feel compelled to help other people, Leo. And so the intimacy might well be between you and another person, like what is truly deepening with your increased spiritual understanding, and also as a result, you know, as a cause of your understanding of yourself. But this may also be actually an intimacy that is occurring with you, within you. There is a bridge here underneath these two cups, and it feels like the bridge is actually forming in those places where perhaps something was casting a shadow, some sort of obstacle that was blocking the light of the sun. And there was just a little barren patch underneath it because it never really got the sun like the rest of it did. You know, it was a bit of a wasteland just there, but it was an internal, personal wasteland. It was where Leo's fear of trusting resided, where Leo's lack of self-worth and low self-esteem also resided. And it seems like you've built a path to another side, and you are in the process of doing so. And this is all really, really important because we've got this Page of Pentacles here again. But this time, rather than standing and looking at this thing that might be important, I kind of got a feeling like this might be worth something, this might be important, this might be a good thing to have more of. We have here this page who is pulling he has a key in his hand. And one doesn't know whether he's about to, clear up the soil and dig up a treasure chest, or whether he has just buried that, right? And he's got the key in his hand, he's going to come back for it at a later point. But there's movement implied here on this card. And he's not alone. Notice that we have a rider in the back there, and my feeling is that they are together, that there are two people on this journey. Now, like I said, this does not have to refer to a personal, like a romantic relationship, an intimate relationship. It can be emblematic of a difference in the way that you are showing up, Leo. Because we've got these two characters here, and then we've got these two here's. It is then indicative of an openness to working in that kind of way. And that's why I think that this work that you have done has been so very fucking important, because what comes next requires more than just you, Leo, and I can feel you're balking at the screen, like I almost balked as I said it myself. You're like, oh, what do you mean I can't do it by myself? You probably could do it by yourself, Leo. But the way is hard, the way is long, and this page here is on foot. The person behind has a horse. This doesn't undermine the importance of your input into this situation. More, it feels like the rider in the background, whatever that is to you, whether that is a person or a mindset or whatever, they're helping you get to where you are so that you can achieve this thing faster, so that you can do it with a higher level of energy than you might have had before. The way is cold, the way is hard, the way is kind of dusty and barren. If you were to walk it on foot, and you could walk it on foot, but you'd be exhausted when you got there and tired, and maybe you might get attacked by bears or something along the way, you know what I mean? But you can get on a horse. This person has a horse, and you can get there much faster. You can get there rested, or at least not as exhausted as you would be. And then we move to the Chariot. And this is important, because the Chariot is a card of victory, it's a card of success, it's a card of you achieving that which you set out to do, right? It's goal setting, absolutely. But it's the drive and motivation to make these things happen. It is also a card that speaks to me of shadow work, but in this respect, Leo, it feels like it is the result of your shadow work, right? Rather than telling you that you're about to plunge yourself into another 6 months of like, can I come out yet? No, okay, you know, as it has been for most of this year. And at this point, the character is alone. This is important, which is not to say that somebody's going to come along and they're going to help you a little bit and then you're going to go and do it yourself. More that those things that you are aiming for, those things that you are looking to achieve at an earlier step require the assistance of somebody else, and they require you to be open to the assistance of someone else, because they will help you get to this point where those things that you dream about, those things that you are trying to achieve, actually become a reality. They're actually achievable now, and in a far shorter time frame than they might have been had you decided to just walk on your own 2 feet, you know? I'd like to pull one more card for that. Because again, I'm drawn to this awakening card here. You know, and we've got a woman there sprouting her own wings. Now, you've had the time and the space to work on your openness to being assisted and things like that. But who's to say that your wings haven't been quietly growing in the background, right? Not quite yet ready for flight, but certainly getting close. I think that's the case. Tell me about the Chariot, please. We have the High Priestess, Pisces. Chariot's Cancer, a High Priestess is Pisces. Like, the emotional work that you have done over the last few months should not be underestimated, and the power of it as a result should not be underestimated too. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a stitch in time saves 9, right? So the work that you've done now, and it's taken 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. It's saving you so much time in the future, so much, because knowing when to be open to assistance, knowing when the whole situation requires people coming together. I mean, you like teamwork, Leo. You like seeing people work together to achieve a goal. But you have been singularly unable to delegate a single task to anyone else. And you always take all of the responsibility and the burden on your shoulders. And this has been about allowing that change of perspective to come in for you. You've been doing some really, really hardcore spiritual work, and it continues. It continues in August, but of a very different nature to what you've been experiencing hitherto. You know, the Judgment card, the High Priestess cards, these are really, really strong, powerful cards of spiritual work. But with this Eight of Pentacles running alongside it, it now feels like you're in a place to allow the wisdom to channel through you, right? There are no obstacles in there anymore. Everything is coming through in its purest form, and the ways in which you get to apply it to the 3D are now going to become more obvious to you, for the benefit of more than just you. You never do anything just purely for yourself, Leo. You just don't do it. You know? And some people might say it's laziness, but it's not. It's just because you are motivated by the group. You like to do things for the collective, your family, your friends, you know, whatever. These, you know, rather piss-takey memes about how Leo are all about grand gestures. And it's like, well, we're not trying to... It's not a show. It's not theatrics. It's like there just isn't enough things in the world for us to give the people that we really, really care about. So we'll just try and give you all of it because it makes us happy, you know? You've had a step up, Leo. And it will become very much clearer by the end of this month why that has happened. I've been prattling on for ages now, so I'm going to leave it here. If you're interested in going a little bit deeper into this, and I will be looking specifically at August and what's going on in August, then feel free to join me over on Vimeo. Link is in the description box. If not, oh, fuck you and your noise. If not, no shade. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I'm really proud of you. And I'll see you soon.